Hello and welcome back. I am Axel. I am ranking the top 100 best songs of 2023, if you even care. And I'm back after having busied myself with another project that I'll hopefully be ready to upload soon after I'm finished with this list project, which is almost near the top. Today we're going to look at the second to last batch of my favourite songs of the year 2023 from position 20 to position 11, which is going to give me the chance to talk about my favorite K-pop, my favorite hip-hop, my favorite country music, and my favorite reggaeton of that year. So stay tuned for that. And getting right into it, at position number 20, I have chosen RXK Nephew's Yeezy Boots, which is a fantastic Kanye diss. I mean, it's probably the perfect Kanye diss. Like, how can you get more perfect than just mispronouncing yay like that? And you know, that fucking Wiz Khalifa line, and like the detail he goes into over the course of just 2 minutes, and then the just casually shooting strays at Tiana Taylor and Pusha T and anyone else that hasn't fully dissociated and distanced themselves from Kanye yet, and all the same doing it in this like semi Dada-ness that is so typical to this Rochester rapper, that I would argue that I think it is as effective in eviscerating Kanye West as the equivalent of like the total of 20 minutes of Kendrick dissing Drake over the course of several songs in 2024, but with none of the self-righteousness or pomposity that kind of put me off that beef a little bit as it was going on. I'm not doing more than one song per artist on this list, but if you don't know it, then do also make sure to check out RXK Nephew's Sliverman vs. Nephew, which is more in the kind of horrorcore tradition, and on which he raps deranged threats such as putting gasoline into his ops' air fryer over a drumless beat that is essentially just John Carpenter's Halloween theme. Honestly, Nephew is just the kind of musician to make me happy to be alive at the same time as him, and to be able to be there to witness the music that he's putting out. For number 19, moving from upstate New York to the south, to Atlanta via Birmingham, Alabama, we get Lonnie Holly and None of Us Have But a Little While, which also features indie folk, indie rock singer-songwriter Sharon Van Etten. And this pick from the septuagenarian Holly's 2023 album, Oh Me, Oh My, is one that comes from perhaps a bit more of an experimental tradition of music. I mean, certainly Lonnie Holly is kind of a musician that comes from the avant-garde jazz tradition, but also with more than a few hints and overlap with the tradition of American primitivism as well, like someone like John Fahey, for example. But you would do yourself a grave disservice not listening to this song on account of that, on account of thinking that those are experimental genres that are maybe not your cup of tea, because this is the kind of song that you'll understand on an emotional level without having to have any pre-existing knowledge of the musical genre, the musical tradition, context, scenes that it springs from. If you played this song in a room of like 100 completely randomly chosen English speakers and just made them listen to it without any distractions, without any phones, like paying attention to the lyrics and everything for the whole runtime of this song, I'd be willing to bet with you that almost every single person in that room would be struck dumb, would be gobsmacked, would be left in tears by the sheer power of this song. It's just that good. At my number 18 spot, we have Copenhagen electronic musician Emil Boog scoring a sleeper hit among indie fans outside her native Denmark with her 2023 Suntub album, which is excellent. And the undisputed highlight on that record was the 5-minute ballad High Speed Calm Air Tonight. On some level, like a guitar-based song, but it's also one that psychedelically and minimalistically shapeshifts into what's ultimately a zero-gravity ambient bliss worthy of the best of Cocteau Twins or Enya. My choice for position number 17 is New Jeans from Seoul with Super Shy, which, even if you're not into K-pop, if you've ever longed to have the soundtrack music to Mario Kart's Rainbow Road being vapor wavily mashed into like a drum and bass pop classic, or if you've never had that thought per se, if you think that could sound fun, then you should absolutely check out what the girls from New Jeans are doing with one of their many excellent singles on Super Shy. As on all the best materials, New Jeans use the plasticity of K-pop as a genre, as a means to like postmodernistically take apart the idea of genres altogether. And while some part of me still holds out hope that we'll eventually get to see these girls back together in the studio making music again, following all that record label conflict-induced hiatus business, with the departure of Danielle from the band, that looks less and less likely, and the recorded material that we have of them might be all we're ever gonna get. And as much as the New Jeans record label conflict is a great starting point to understand the extremely exploitative nature of K-pop as a business enterprise that actually allows no freedom, creative or otherwise, to the very young and often female musicians that are roped into these contracts. I don't know enough about it all to tell that story. I just know that I love the music and that I will be missing them for many years to come. Super Shy is not only one of the best K-pop songs of the year, it's one of the best pop songs of the year 2023. Full stop. It's New Jeans firing on all cylinders, and it's a testament to just how much promise they held as a band. With my number 16 pick, we are in Buenos Aires, Argentina, with a whole roster of reggaeton artists. So we've got Litkila, Tiago PSK, Maria Becerra, Duki, Emilia, Russia King, Big One, and FMK, with Los del Espacio. Which, unless you've been keeping up with your reggaeton and urbano music that's not big enough to be played north of the Mexican-American border, then you might not be familiar with this song or with any of the artists that I've just listed off. However, they made what was probably the biggest reggaeton hit of the whole year of 2023 in Latin America. It's the hip-hop posse cut format transplanted with some influence by local Argentinian producer Bizarrap to a triumphant corner party banger. It's not that deep really, but it's that good. My next stopping off point on this list is Melbourne, Australia, with number 15 of the best songs of 2023, Troye Sivan, Rush, a bona fide summer beach hit, as huge as like Katy Perry's Teenage Dream or something. And because I live in Scotland, the only times I would have visited the beach in the year 2023 would have been wearing 3 jumpers probably, but I can still confirm that this is a beach banger because I know, I just know. Going as far away from the beach as possible for the next one to Oklahoma, we get number 14, Zach Bryan with East Side of Sorrow. So I've got a Spotify playlist which is called I Cruise the Wide Open Road, Crying Over Spilt PBRs, and no song in it encapsulates it as much as this. Like, apparently his song Something in the Orange from his 2022 album American Heartbreak was one of the most streamed and most bought songs of the year 2023 according to the Billboard End of Year charts. According to the Billboard End of Year charts. And that's a fantastic song in and of itself, but it's officially a 2022 release. Plus the kind of triumphalism in East Side of Sorrow, that Springsteen-esque quality of believing that things can get better despite any evidence in favor of that. I think that just about nudges it out, and it's one of the best country songs of the decade for sure. This one here is a Lucy from California's Earl Sweatshirt, who is like one of the top 5, maybe top 3 best rappers active right now. He's that good, but I mean, I understand that he's drifted further and further away from the mainstream since his, Caesura album, some rap songs, and a lot of people might not be listening to him as much these days anymore, or only listen to his albums, or maybe that song just passed you by altogether. And if it has, you need to remedy that. You need to seek out making the band Danny Kane, which sees it all floating, but also flowing over this vaporwave sort of beat produced in collaboration by Clams Casino and Evil Gianni, 2 of the best rap producers in the game, and it's just so smooth. This right here is my number 1 rap song of the year 2023. And we're going to finish up today's selection of 10 songs with some more heavy material compared to the poppier direction that a lot of this list has taken. But of course, heavy can mean different things, and there's a fun side of heavy music as well, which few bands in the present day embody better than King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard from Melbourne. I mean, they barely need an introduction really anymore at this point, but on Motor Spirit from one of their 2023 albums, Petrodragonic Apocalypse or Dawn of Eternal Night, an annihilation of planet Earth and the beginning of merciless damnation. The song is catchier than that album title. I mean, 2023 was a big year for the band, and they sound like they're having even more fun than usual on this. I mean, Motor Spirit is a thrash metal classic of Mad Max Fury Road proportions. And the last song that I'm going to talk about today, at number 11, Reverend Kristen Michael Hayter, I Will Be With You Always, which is not the kind of heavy song to blow your speakers out, but rather reduce you to tears and leave you an emotional wreck. This from the album Saved by the artist also and formerly known as Lingua Ignota, may at first seem like the kind of difficult music, the sort of avant-gardistic experimental sounds that are more suited for like an albums of the year list rather than a songs of the year list, because it might not be as easy to pick out individual highlights, but you can tell that the overall impression that the album makes on you is quite something. But I found actually that the opposite is true when I was re-listening to this album, and I actually found several notable songs that I would have wanted to incorporate into this list. I mean, for one, there's the devilish funeral march of All of My Friends Who Are Going to Hell, on which we hear Hayter tracing the roots of the legendary gospel singer Blind Willie Johnson in the 1930s. And then there's also the speaking in tongues of album closer How Can I Keep On Singing? But on I Will Be With You Always, Hayter goes one step further. Here, the California musician is skirting, I would say, like the neoclassical dark wave sounds of Sweden's Anna von Hauswolf. In particular, that musician's 2018 masterpiece, The Mysterious Vanishing of Electra, which is probably one of my favorite songs of all time. And on I Will Be With You Always, Hayter is positively caterwauling. I mean, this is a 6.5 minute long song. It's the centerpiece of the album it's from. Nothing but a wonky piano melody accompanying Hayter as she sings with the kind of gravity that I think most of us would reserve for only a conversation with God. And voila, I mean, that's the 10 songs I've got today. They're all down in the description below. If you want to check them out, I recommend that you do check them out. I am going to be doing this one more time with the best of the best, hopefully next week, and then it's on to a different project that I'm hoping to unveil soon enough. For now, thanks very much for watching. Like and subscribe if that's the kind of thing you're into. Don't if it isn't. But be blessed and toodaloo.